It's Saturday, October 9th, 2021. It's my favorite day of the week during my favorite time of the year. It is college football Saturday. The season just flying by here. Week 6 of the college football season. But things are starting to shake themselves out, or at least a path to what the playoff is going to look like is starting to develop in college football. Joe, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. I'm excited for a great day of football today. What about you, Mitch?
Well, after yesterday's afternoon show that we did, I went for a run. So it was like that food, I think I gained like 9 pounds just talking about the deep fried food over at the Texas State Fair. Just really excited. I think it's one of those days where it's kind of like not really like the kind of big marquee game, maybe Texas, Oklahoma, but Penn State, Iowa. There's a few of those out there, but this is just like one of those meat and potatoes college football Saturdays where it's like there's just a few teams off, that aren't playing today, and then you have other teams that, other big games. So it's kind of conference play. These are the Saturdays, right? These are the ones where you grind them out and before you know it, it turns into a really nice day. So just excited for it. Always am.
Yeah, I am too, and we've got some great handicappers on today, of course, from the PickDawgz crew.
We do. I'm trying to do all my stuff normally ahead of the show, and I did today as well, but what happened is that I don't know, I think I was doing some other stuff, but that's okay. But we have a really good show today. We have Joe and Dionne D'Amico, the first couple of Vegas. Then we have Ron Romanelli, of course, who's here just about every weekend. We have Jovan Burts, who's still tearing it up on the leaderboards. We've got Chris Ruffolo, brought the refreshments, as usual. We've got Zawacky, Brian Bitler, and we might have a few other people stop by as well, so pretty exciting.
Definitely going to be a fun morning. I want to thank everyone for joining us today.
Still, I don't know what I'm doing. Wish I did. But,
absolutely.
Okay, there we go. And almost ready to bring.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how quick people are getting in this week. It's like people are jumping straight in on our live show. So thanks, guys, for coming.
Of course, we appreciate each and every one of you. And oh boy, I really made a mess of this thing. It's all right. It always works out in the end. I should just go and bring it like we always do. All right, there we go. Bring in Joe and Dionne D'Amico. Sorry, guys. It's a little early and I'm a little late, but we got it done. And, well, it's another big day of college football. Week 6, here we are. There's been no games that have been postponed by COVID. There hasn't been a lot of players that have missed games or anything like that. There's been fans in the stands. It's definitely, at least it feels normal, at least on TV it does. Here we're still in lockdown, but everywhere else in the free world, it looks normal. So, Joe, how are things in Vegas this week? Still business as usual? I know they had the big G2E conference. I had a lot of friends who were out there for that. How was it?
Very crowded. I had some family come in this week, and we were on the strip a little bit. Very crowded. It's great to see because this is like the center of the universe, Vegas. And I always made a joke, Mitch, writing columns and whatnot. I always made a joke that God forbid the bomb ever comes, there'll be cockroaches in Vegas. We'll still be left standing. And last year with lockdown and what it really did affect Vegas, so it's wonderful to see all my friends who are headliners on the strip back at work where they should be, and people back in town. As far as the sports books go, Mitch, they are crowded. And it doesn't matter whether you're a college football fan, a pro football fan, or even an electric fan. It doesn't matter. The books are crowded with people, and they're betting, man. I mean, these books are crowded. It's great to see. It really is where Vegas is where it should be. And it's busy and with gamblers and tourists and people enjoying what the entertainment capital and gambling capital of the world has to offer. We're going to be at the Raider game tomorrow, Raiders-Bears. And we're going to have a lot of fun there. I mean, we're going to be dressing up. We'll be in our Raider garb. We're going to have Raider stickers on our face, Raider hats, Raider masks, you name it. I'm going to look like one of the Raiders cheerleaders by the time halftime comes because it's just a fun time. So if anybody has an opportunity to see a game at Allegiant, whether you're a Raider fan or not, come on down. It is electric. It's one of the nicest stadiums I've ever been to, and I've been to, I think, almost every football stadium in the country.
So Joe and I had a really serious conversation on our show yesterday about all the fried foods at the Texas Fair, and we kind of like mapped out like where we were gonna go if we happened to be there. And I mean, they have 9 funnel cake stands, but now back in up until a few years ago, they had at Mermaid's the deep fried Twinkie and also the deep fried Oreo. What has replaced, like, I know that Circa is where that was, so it's like, I don't know, does Vegas have the deep fried Twinkie anymore?
They've got everything. Mitch, when I first moved here over 30 years ago, there was a couple of very good restaurants in the casinos, and there was a handful of very good restaurants here in town. Bob Taylor's Ranch House, which is one of the oldest restaurants. The Old Venetian was a restaurant on West Sahara. Now there's like thousands of great restaurants, and no matter what time of the day you want a snack or a major meal, and I'm not just talking on Las Vegas Boulevard, I'm talking east and west of the Strip, you can find it even in the residential areas where we live. There's places for all-night food. I didn't even know it. A block and a half away from my house is an all-night karaoke place. It's a little mom and pop pizza joint that has all-night karaoke. And we didn't know until we went to the gym at like 4 a.m, passed by. It was a crowd of people. I'm like, what the heck is this? They've been there for years. I didn't even know about it. But yes, deep fried Twinkies, deep fried everything. We've got it here. Unfortunately, this past September, we did not have the San Gennaro Festival. We normally have that twice a year here. A good friend of mine, Anthony, owns that feast here and in several other states. And because of lockdown and whatnot, they could not do it. And he just didn't know what was going to happen this year in September, because that goes to the last 2 weeks of September. But, everything else is happening here. We've got our music festivals. We got everything. And the food is great. And I'll be honest, Mitch, Joe, one of my favorite things, and Dionne will probably mention this, is having a hot dog and a beer at a ball game. Am I right, Dionne?
Definitely. That's our favorite part of going to any kind of game, is actually the food.
The food.
Of course.
The food.
That goes without saying.
You put in ketchup and mustard on those hot dogs, or what are you adding?
Dionne?
Ketchup and relish. That's my thing.
I'm a sauerkraut and onions guy. She's a little country. I'm a little rock and roll. But definitely a cold beer and a hot dog at the game. I mean, there's nothing like that.
And people watching.
And people watching. And I got to tell you, been to a couple of Raider games already here. There is some very eclectic people here. Mm-hmm. It's just a great event, man. It's just great. We're looking forward to it. Going to do a little tailgating tomorrow. We have a charity event tomorrow, and then we're going to do a little tailgating and go enjoy the game.
All right. Well, how about today's games? What kind of action you got for us today, Joe?
Well, I've got 2 free winners on the board for everyone out there. First game I want to talk about, it does go off a little bit earlier than the second game I'm going to release. Guys, it's not Clemson, it's not Louisville, it's not Pitt, and it's not even Virginia Tech, but very quietly, Wake Forest is the only ACC team with an undefeated record. The Demon Deacons, 5-0 overall. That includes 3-0 mark in conference play. Their offense is putting up over 38.4 a game. But, guys, it has been their defense that has amazed the college football world. A mere 18.2 points per game they allow, 7 takeaways and 16 sacks. One of the limited and very immobile Syracuse quarterback Schrader and DeVito, who, by the way, 3 TDs and 4 INTs combined. What the heck are they going to do here? The line is currently around 6. I have them winning by at least 10 to 12 points. Anything under a TD here, I think, is an early Christmas gift. The Deacons, 6-2 against the number of the last 8 in conference play. I like Wake Forest here, folks, and I've been doing pretty good on my free plays here on the early morning show for PickDawgz, and I'm going to take it. I already took it, minus the 6. Like I said, anything under a TD is a winner.
Joe, any take on this one?
Yeah, I love Wake Forest in this situation. I think what we've seen out of Syracuse is the team that really, they're not doing great. Even if they get this ball passing today, Wake Forest is going to be too much for them. When we look at Wake Forest in their last 8 conference games, they're 6-2 against the spread. I love them covering the 6-7 points, whatever you can get it at.
I don't know. I like the way Syracuse has run the football this year. I love teams that run the football and play defense, and Syracuse has kind of switched to that type of football. Dino Babers known for the spread offense and the wide open everything, but this year he's kind of tightened things up, and they've leaned on the running game. They have one of their track guys playing running back, and he's actually a pretty big guy too, and he's kind of been carrying the load, and that's been a big reason for the Syracuse turnaround. Also taking DeVito out of quarterback and putting the other guy in who don't know his name, of course, but
Schrader.
I do know that he runs like crazy also. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a competitive. I think it's going to be a higher scoring Wild one there at the Dome.
Oh.
Of course, they redid the whole Dome too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a good one. What else we got today, Dionne?
Well, I have one game for everybody today. So Nick Saban seems to go. Excuse me. Nick Saban seems to go out of his way to beat his former assistants. He is 24-0 straight up against them. Things don't look too promising for Texas A&M head coach Jimbo Fisher. The Aggies have dropped and failed to cover their last 2 games, both against teams they were favored over. To make matters worse, their defense also has injuries to 2 of their starting cornerbacks and have to face explosive passing attacks of the Crimson Tide. With quarterback issues and no ground game, the offense is overmatched here, facing the strong Alabama stop unit. The Texas A&M defense has good numbers, but they haven't faced the level of offense like this that accounts for over 45.6 points per game. The Crimson Tide have taken the last 8 meetings in the rivalry straight up, going 5-2 against the spread the last 7. The Tide rolls here.
Roll Tide.
Joe Madden.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I think they come out and crush Texas A&M today. Easy. They are averaging 45 points a game. They're going to roll over Texas A&M. I can also see this being a higher scoring game, especially for Alabama. I would be looking at the team total for Alabama as well, you guys, because I just don't know how many points Texas A&M can put up, but I'm still seeing this going well over the 51 points.
Mm-hmm.
I see that.
I love this one as well. I'm with all you guys. Roll Tide in this thing. I just don't see how Texas A&M is going to score points in this game. I just don't see it. And when we look at Alabama's numbers and like where the team ranks, in offense and defense, kind of middle of the pack. And it's because number one, they put the backups in early, a lot in these Alabama games. And also the offense is always playing on a short field. Very, very tough to put up really big offensive numbers when your team starts at the other team's 45-yard line almost every single drive. That is like a trademark of the good Nick Saban teams, is that they start at about their own 40 is their average starting field position because the defense is just constantly doing it. Last week we saw them unleash the running game really for the first time this season. I could see them doing it again today. Texas A&M just really not good against the run. In Alabama, 5 NFL running backs or something on the roster. So could be ugly in College Station. Going to want to stay clear. Going to want to stay clear if you have a ticket on Bama. Joe, what else we got today?
I got another free game, another marquee. Well, I don't want to say marquee, but a marquee team. Georgia. I want to talk about Georgia. Guys, they know they cannot let up an inch at all as they have a true chance at not just an SEC title, but moreover, a CFP spot. Their ferocious defense. They're ranked number 1 in total yards, number 1 yards passing, number 1 in points scored. They've pitched 2 consecutive shutouts. They've given up a total of 23 points through 5 games this season. Auburn, guys, they've yet to face a stop unit anywhere near this caliber. Even if JT Daniels doesn't go, he's got an able backup, Stetson Bennett. He's gained a ton of confidence at the helm his last few starts. He also has a great talent around him. Now, guys, we'll talk about Bo Nix, the Tigers QB. Guys, he hasn't fared well in this rivalry at all. I looked at the numbers. It's just, oh, my God, it's ugly. Talk about ugly, Mitch. And this season, he doesn't have the luxury of a solid rushing unit to crutch on. And no matter what they throw at them on the ground, the Bulldogs counter with one of the stingiest defenses in the nation against the rush. They allow 70 yards per game on the ground. Georgia has won and covered the last 4 years of the series, Mitch and Joe, by a combined score of 103-37. I got some ATS numbers here, but it doesn't even matter. I think Georgia knows that if Alabama has a slip-up, I think Georgia knows they got to get these style points, even style points right now. A few years ago, Mitch, maybe before 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, teams would let up a little bit when they were blowing teams out. And I know Alabama, Nick Saban pulled some of the stars out, but their backups are they're just as good. They're just a little younger, a little less experienced. But Georgia knows they need all the style points, regular points. They can't let up off the gas. They got to keep their foot on the accelerator, 4 quarters, keep it going. I believe the line is 14.5. That hook doesn't bother me. They're going to win this game by 21, 27, 35 points.
I think other teams would kill for Alabama's backups. Joe, what do you think?
I'm liking this game. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, you guys. We've got a low total, but I see this a battle in the trenches, both these defenses being able to make some big stops in this matchup. So give me the under in this one. I do like Georgia minus the points as well.
I think Georgia, James Cook is like one of the most underrated running backs in the country. Of course, Dalvin Cook's younger brother. This guy's just a home run hitter. I love running backs that are home run hitters, where it's like, I like the guys that, I like 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Don't get me wrong, but I like the home run hitters too. And I think Georgia has a bunch of those, but I think that's the key matchup is these Georgia running backs against those Auburn linebackers, which every year Auburn has a unit on their defense. It's usually either the defensive line or the linebackers where it's an embarrassment of riches, right? Where they just have pro players 5 deep. And that's how Auburn is at linebacker this year. So this one is going to be a buckle up the chin strap type of game. You're going to see some hit. And of course that Georgia defense, I think the play of the year that we've seen so far, to me, the statement was in the Vandy game against Georgia. That first play of the game, Georgia was 5 yards into the backfield and a decapitation of the running back. And it was just like, oh man, this is going to be one of those games. And I think this one is just going to be one of those low scoring, hard hitting games. It's going to. I love games like this. I'm going to be making popcorn for this thing. I make popcorn for all the games. Joe, what do you have for sale today?
Mitch, Joe, sports fans, I'm running a 9-3 college football run. Today's card, I'm going to tell you, is a dream come true. I got everyone paid last week with my first game of the month in college football, USC, my Pac-12 game of the month, easy winner. Today I have my SEC West game of the month. It's even higher rated. My touchdown play, guys, they're like 66% over the years. Oddsmakers mistake move. They are 2-0 this season. My undefeated high roller. The big Oklahoma-Texas winner. And my bookend of my big game of the month, my other huge play, my college football consensus play. They are 5-1, Mitch and Joe, this season. 5-1 this season. I've got another one. So that's going to bookend my SEC West game of the month. 2 huge plays. But all of my winners are available right now at PickDawgz. Follow me today. I'm going to make your dreams come true.
How about you, Dionne?
I love you, Mitch.
I don't know, man. I'm a dreamer, so it's a big ask. It's a big ask.
Well, as you know, I am on fire in college football. I am overall 14-5 record. Today I have 4 big winners for you. I have my first Lady Luck release. I have another No Limit, which are 100% this season at 2-0. I also have my 4-1 touchdown play. And I have my strongest play on the board, my Lucky Sevens play. You can get them all right now at PickDawgz.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us as always. Always a good time. I always feel like having you guys on for longer, but we'll never get to the games. So, but we appreciate both you stopping by, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for NFL.
No, we got the game. We got a charity tomorrow, and then the tailgate at the Bears Raiders. I believe we can do next weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. We're looking forward to it. Unless I'm in jail because I have too many beers at the Raiders game tomorrow and I streak across the field at halftime.
All right. Well, then we'll see you next week. This is good. I'll be sure to be out of. I'll be sure to be refilling my coffee when that happens.
Thanks very much, Valerie, Mitch, and Joe. We adore you guys. Jovan, Ron, Chris, everybody's coming on later. My best brother, Brian, and crazy Rowdy Zawacky. It's going to be a great lineup today, man. Guys, tune in because you didn't just get good winners from Dan and myself, but you're going to get them all through the show. And thanks for having us, everybody. Good luck. Have a winning day.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you for joining us.
Best of luck to you guys.
Once again, that was Joe and Dionne D'Amico, the first couple of Vegas. I always leave them on a little bit longer because the beginning of the show. Plus, I just like having them around.
Well, absolutely. It's
Joe,
a great way to start the show with the two of them.
You don't have to worry about flat energy or anything. It's kind of like just brings the heat every single time. But we have a bunch of cappers on today. And, last night we had some games that were pretty interesting. Arizona State and Stanford seemed to get a little chippy there at the end. And I think we're just getting to that point of the season where it is getting a little chippy, and it's kind of like we're into the conference play. And, we're starting to see these teams that, it's like all of the excitement that, now we're playing college football is kind of gone. And it's more like, all right, let's take care of business. And, and that's what we're starting to see. But speaking of taking care of business, we head to Gainesville. Ron Romanelli joins us. I know Vandy's in town. This could go either way. Lou Holtz, when he was the head coach of South Carolina, he never talked down the Vandy game. That's for sure. It was Vandy was like, the Roger Staubach Cowboys when they went to South Carolina. That's for sure. He was always like, "See the star on their helmet," just like Tom Landry's Dallas Cowboys. Tony Dorsett. Like, oh, not Vandy. Something tells me Dan Mullen probably a little bit different take on it, but I'm sure they're not taking the doors lightly either over in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's homecoming around here, so we know Florida and Dan Mullen love a good old SEC beatdown when they can get one, and Vanderbilt, one of the worst programs in the FBS, so I expect the Gators to put their foot on Vanderbilt's throat and not really take it off the entire game, especially after last week's embarrassing loss. So could be an ugly one in Gainesville today.
Yeah, I expect to see Dan Mullen on his very worst behavior in this one. But
yep.
What have you what game are you looking at today?
I'm looking at a couple of them. For my first one, I'm going to look at this Virginia and Louisville game. To me, this is a pretty even game, and you could see that in the line. It's only a 2.5 point spread in favor of Louisville, but you got two talented offenses. They've scored more than 30 points per game each team, but I trust Virginia a little bit more on both sides of the ball. And we're going to get plus money on the money line with Virginia in this spot, so I think it's just too good to pass up. You have Brennan Armstrong, quarterback for Virginia, 14 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions, almost 2,000 passing yards, and he's got a 65% completion percentage. He hasn't had the greatest season, but he's actually putting up pretty good numbers in the ACC, and the offense for Virginia is putting up 526 yards per game. They've had 3 500-yard or more performances against Power 5 teams this season. And I know Virginia's defense was torched by North Carolina a few weeks ago, but it looked really, really solid against Miami on the road. That was a desperate Miami team at its home stadium, and Virginia played real well as the dog and got the outright win. So Louisville's defense has been bad against both the run and the pass. We always joke about how Louisville has a lack of tackling formation. I mean, how many missed tackles does Louisville have? And spots like these in ACC games, we saw it against Wake Forest last week. Virginia's had a lot of time to rest. They played during the week of last week, so extra time to rest for this road game. And I expect a really strong showing from Virginia's offense. And if this game does become a shootout, I think Virginia is at the advantage. I think they have more of a big playmakers. I like Malik Cunningham at Louisville, but I think that they're more of a methodical offense rather than Virginia and Brennan Armstrong. So I'll take Virginia on the money line. I'll just take the plus money there.
Joe, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm liking Virginia here. I think they've been more of a consistent team, to be honest with you, over Louisville. I do think both defenses will step up today. I know this is normally higher scoring with these two teams, but I think we're going to see a lower one in this. I'm willing to take that under, and Virginia on the money line as well. I think it's a great bet.
I'm going to have to disagree with Joe on that one. I think this one's going to be a track meet. We saw the Virginia defense last week just crumble in the second half against Miami. Really deserved to lose that game. It was a missed field goal by the Canes at the gun that gave Virginia the win. But the defense was a sieve in the second half of that game. Virginia had a big lead at halftime. Bronco Mendenhall's offense is just, pass first, pass second type offense. And Louisville, well, it's kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of Kansas State meets the Seattle Seahawks, where it's just the quarterback kind of just runs around and then he decides, well, maybe I'll run or maybe I'll throw, and let me see if somebody open, and then sometimes he gets hit, and who even knows what's going on with these guys. I trust both these teams zero. I mean, absolutely zero. I'm not putting one dime of my money anywhere near this thing. So you guys, braver than I am. I just think for me, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time start. There's a reason that they squeeze it in at that time. It's so we can watch Texas, Oklahoma.
All right, I hear you.
I think it's one of those tough ones. I mean, I did a video on this game too, and I just stumbled for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's a pretty even game, but I do think there's some value with that plus money with the better team, in my opinion. But For the next game, I'm going to look at, I don't have an official play on this one, but it is an interesting one I've been looking at all week, and it's the North Texas and Missouri game. So we know Missouri's run defense has been miserable. I mean, last week they gave up 458 rushing yards to Tennessee. They've allowed 275 or more rushing yards the last 4 weeks, and that includes an FCS opponent. It was so bad that Missouri winded up firing its defensive line coach this past week. Now, on the other side, you got North Texas. They've actually run the ball really well. I know you usually think North Texas is a pass-heavy team, but this season's complete opposite. Their pass game has been terrible. I think, have less than a 50% completion rating between their two quarterbacks. They have not been able to move the ball through the air at all. And, you may think, okay, well, North Texas runs the ball well. Missouri can't stop the run. Why don't you take the points with North Texas? The reason why I'm a little hesitant to do that, and I want to see the first few drives of this game, is because I expect Missouri all week in practice to be locking down that run defense. They cannot get embarrassed on their home field in a non-conference game. And I expect Missouri to be a lot stronger against the run this week. I can't be confident in that, and I can't show you that in the stat sheet because it just hasn't been proven yet. But I say you watch the first few drives of this game. If North Texas is able to run the ball efficiently, pull off 6-7 yard rushes at a time, get some first downs, moving the ball on the ground, I'd say take as many points as you can in game with North Texas. But if you see Missouri stopping the run, I expect Missouri to beat down North Texas in this one. Missouri's going to be able to score whether they stop the run or not. We know that, but this could be a shootout if they can't stop the run. So if you see Missouri getting some tackle for losses and then forcing North Texas in some long downs passing-wise, lay as many points as you can with Missouri, and I expect a Tiger beatdown. So just a little food for thought there. I'm going to be watching this game. It's at a 4 o'clock start time. I'll have my sports book up, ready to go, and see those first few drives. It's all about that run defense from Missouri.
Joe Madden, any take on this one?
Yeah, I'm just confused with North Texas. Who is their quarterback? Because aren't they flip-flopping on this? Because who are we even going to see out today?
Yeah, so last year they went with Austin, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Ayun or A-U-N-E. But this year he hasn't been that good, so they've gone with Jace Ruder, who also struggled. So it's been a quarterback by committee with those two guys. Both have really struggled. So just no really quarterback option for North Texas this year.
Absolutely. And that's where I struggle betting this game. Like, who am I willing to risk it on? I think North Texas should cover with the points, but it's not worth it for me to put any money on this one.
Yeah. Homecoming in the SEC is just a big deal. And I expect this to be a big deal as well in Missouri. This is a good, proud program, and they're not having their best year. But you look at the NFL, and there's plenty of Missouri players out there. North Texas, I think what we've seen in some of these, we saw it in the first few weeks of the season when Missouri, we look at that at their defense, right? But the thing is, it's like a lot of other. I'm a little leery of defensive and offensive rankings still, even though we're in week 6. Most of the teams out there have ducked conference play until later in. We've seen, even Ohio State has played, Minnesota they open with, and Oregon, and it's like that. But when we look at Missouri, right, look at who they played, right? Tennessee, Boston College, who hammers the rock, right? I mean, that is all they do. Tennessee, Boston College, Kentucky, who's pretty good this season. That one was at Lexington, and that one was a pretty good back and forth battle. I lost some money on that game, so I remember it left a mark. And not bad Central Michigan team. So Missouri, I think the number might be a little overstated because you look at you look at who they played, but still 450 is 450. And, there's no way around that. But 465.6. But who's counting among friends here? And but. I don't know. I just think that I think that I don't see North Texas running for 308 yards here today. I just don't see it. I'm going to see that. I'm going to think that Missouri gets off that number 130 ranking in rushing defense, and I think it happens right here. I think they drop the line right here.
I have a feeling that's the way it's going to go too, but I got to believe it when I see it. So watch those first few drives.
My money is still here.
Yeah. Keep it there.
Yep, keep it there for a little while.
I'm talking a big game. I'm Bitler my way through this thing. It's like it all comes down to it. So it's like, okay, I'll bet you everything I own that the Giants win. It's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Anyway. All right. What are you selling today, Ron?
Yeah, well, coming off back-to-back winning days in college football, I have my college football fiver, top 5 plays of the day. Most of the games in the nightcap, but one play in the afternoon. Really liking today's card. It's a smaller card than what we've seen this year with conference play starting up, but plenty of good value on the board, and I'm ready to take down the books with you if you'll join me at PickDawgz Premium.
All right. Well, we appreciate having you. Are you going to be on tomorrow with us?
Yes, I will be. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Well, D'Amico's can't be here. They're too busy for us, so we need you. Thanks for joining us as always, Ron. We'll see you tomorrow. Of course,
Thank you guys. Good luck, everybody.
Best of luck.
You can find Ron's picks, including his famous bread and butter plays, over at PickDawgz every single day. Joe had a couple guests here, had a chance to get some coffee in us. You know,
I need some more.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Coffee.
It's odd because Joe and I we do I don't know. I think we do 7, 12.
I don't know.
12, 13. We do 13, 15, 13, 16. We do 17 free shows a week. Joe and I do together. We do. And that's a lot of together time.
It is a lot of together time.
A lot of together time. But we also do 7 premium shows and 7 VIP shows. So Joe and I do 31 shows a week together. This is only 7
You tired of me yet, Mitch?
No, I enjoy each and every one of them. But
and you can tell when I need coffee. Mitch is like,
just,
yeah,
and the thing is that, Joe didn't come in off the street where she had, she hasn't done this before, but I know working with me can be a little bit of.
I was like, where are you going with that, Mitch? I haven't come in off the street.
Oh no, I'm just saying that you had. It's not like you haven't done shows before, but it's like working with me is I understand. I have a problem. I take things, it's like everyone else does. Everyone else is running, everyone else is running a 5K. I'm running, the 50 mile marathon, it's like, I don't have that Joe's in me. So I struggle with it. But, so
it's
Joe is just, Joe's, a month in now. She's figuring it all out with us, but so far so good.
Absolutely. I'm loving it.
But she knows her coffee bill has gone up. I'm sure
it definitely has.
I'm sure somewhere in our bottom line that will show up over here. But let's see. There we go. I'm bringing in Jovan Burts, who is still slaying it in picks. He's on a major heater, and he's got his Red Sox hat on. That was a hell of a comeback yesterday. Down 5 runs. The only thing that got me, like I had the Red Sox on the show. I gave it out as a premium pick on our premium show, and I really liked him yesterday. But man, not getting that end game when they were down 5 runs, it's like I won. I had the reverse run line on the game. I had everything, and I'm still mad I didn't end game that 5 runs.
Left money on the table.
Oh. way to kiss up to the guy that runs things around here. Well, what do you think of today's college football card? I mean, do you see a lot of opportunity out there, or do you think it's one of those ones where we tread a little lightly?
I mean, listen, there's always opportunities in a big slate of games. That's just the way I see it. It's as the conference season rolls on, it's always going to be games where it's like traps, so you have to pick your spots and to tread lightly. But there's some value on this card that I see, and I have a couple for you.
I just put Brian up instead of you, so I just fixed you. All right, still working on things back here, but where do you want to start for today?
I'm gonna start in Provo. We're gonna go to Brigham Young versus Boise State. BYU's hosting, and I think in this one, the unders are a play that I'm liking. These are 2 high scoring teams. The defenses having well they in spots they have come to play, but in this one I think weather's going to be a factor. It's raining out there. It's 60-something% chance of rain during the game. And I think that's going to slow down the offenses. These teams, they do like to throw the wrong rock around. And, save for last year's, BYU smashing, the 4 games before that, they've all stayed below this current total. These teams play close games, and in close games, these teams get tight. I expect with the weather being the way it is, they're gonna run the rock a little bit more than usual, and I like the under for that reason.
Joe, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I definitely could see it being an under game because BYU does rely on that run game. Like you were saying, Jovan, I'm also liking BYU minus the points. I think they come in. I think they get this win today. So that's where I'm liking with this game.
I think that Boise has played just a brutal schedule here. They like to think that they're not, the novelty act anymore. And I know BYU wants to be, we've seen BYU win national championships before, so it's not like they're any stranger to it. But I think last year what they saw is when their schedule got changed, they didn't get to play in a lot of their games, what effect that had on them overall, where, it got late in the season and they were undefeated and they were not going to be in the playoff, and they went to Coastal and ended up losing that game. But I think this is a little bit different animal for them. I think Boise, it's one of those things where they've kept it close, but they haven't beat anybody. They went to UCF, that opening game. They covered the spread. They just didn't win the game. So, as far as I'm concerned, hey, they won that game. And, Oklahoma State, that game was tight as tight can be. And this Oklahoma State team, probably one of the more underrated teams in the nation. So I think this game is going to be tight all the way. I don't think – and to me, when I look at BYU, I see a team that, is undefeated. And I understand that they played 3 Pac-12 teams to get the season started and all that kind of good stuff like that. But this is a middle-of-the-road undefeated team. This is Alabama has, I said it earlier when Joe and Dionne were on that, Alabama kind of has some mediocre numbers, and it looks mediocre, but it's like, yeah, because they're playing on a short field, because the turnovers don't definitely show up in that. But, when we look at BYU, they've lived off the turnover also. That really has been their key here, is that they're 27th best defensively in takeaways, and that kind of gets it done. And then in turning the ball over, they haven't turned the ball over yet. So I don't know if you can live and die by that, especially against a team that can run, and which Boise hasn't done yet this season. They've been leaning on the pass. I don't know. I think this game is tight. I think I could see it being in one of these defensive games. I could see it being a hard-hitting game. We're at that point in the season. I see a tight one.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Looking at a tight one.
Well, what do we got next? I love this game. By the way, this is one it's on my TV.
Yeah, so we going to Hawkeye country, where I was hosting Penn State, and I like playing the big games, at least this season, but this game, I think the road team takes it. I'm more on Penn State. And with these two teams, they both hold, some of the best defenses, college football has to offer. And they're both 4-1 against the spread. But I think the difference is the quarterback play. I think Sean Clifford is just a cut above Petrus, and Iowa's offense, they're never impressive. This year's the same thing, and they don't have the running game that they used to have. That's the one thing about the Hawkeyes that you could at least hang your hat on. They would usually have a running game that would just pound it. What's coming, and most times you can't stop it. Well, this year, they're 98th ranked in college football, and that's not cutting it. It is against a team like Penn State, who, they're 30th ranked with stopping the run. So are they going to put it in the air? They're going to have to. They're going to have to pick their spots. But can they deliver? I don't think so. I think that Penn State can. and I think they'll get it done for the outright win.
I think for me, I think this is one of those games that has the potential to really disappoint people that like to watch offensive football games. Joe?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. These teams are so strong defensively. I think we're going to have an in the battle trenches game where, both teams are going back and forth, not being able to convert on third down, fourth down situations, and really low scoring. We've got a total of 41. I think it is much, much lower than that.
I think this is one of those games that if you're in one of those box pools, and you have like those weird numbers, you might be okay. It's like it's one of those games where it's like this could be. I think this is the type of game where it could be like 18-14. It's like this could be one of those weird type things. So definitely another defensive battle, another conference game, and this one with two teams ranked in the top 10. Probably an elimination game of sorts because Ohio State is kind of rolling now on the other side, and it's like we know when all else fails for the playoff committee, they start it's like, well, we know that Oregon beat Ohio State, but we need to have Ohio State ranked ahead of Oregon, so they start going to the eye test, right? And it's like it's not our eyes, it's it's some guy, if their eyes are on their bank account, so it's like we don't really have a say in that. So for this one, I don't think either of these teams can withstand a loss and still stay in contention and come back in, and they could possibly win the Big Ten in the championship game or something like that if they'll need help, obviously, but they're not going to find their way back into the playoff race, because if it's between one of them and a one-loss Ohio State, no chance. Maybe Penn State, but I still think there's still a little bit of stigma left over from the way Paterno went out.
They're choosing Ohio State every day, twice on Sunday, as you would say.
Yep, they just love them because they travel so well. They spend a lot of money everywhere they go. The Ohio State fans, that's for sure. They do it well. What do you got for sale today?
Yeah, well, currently I have my big game Saturday shootout 7-pack. I got a bonus song playing it for longer term subscribers. I want to add in 2 more late games. Whether that happens or not, that remains to be seen. I'll know in the next 15 minutes. But other than that, it's been rolling. Looking to keep it going. Enjoying the ride.
And we know those hot runs, they don't last forever, but they sure are fun while they're around. That's for sure. I've had a bunch of them over the years, and I've had some cold ones that that match. And that, so you always enjoy them. And when they come in, NFL and college football season, they're twice as much fun. And, man, you do hockey? We're a couple days away from hockey here on the 12th. We've got, college hoops coming up and NBA. So it is a great time of year to grab a long-term package. I think if you get Jovan's weekly pass, it's like $100 and something bucks. But if you buy his yearly, it ends up being less than $100 for a month, right? So it's like in 3 months, if you would have bought his yearly pass a month ago, you would have been able to pay for it 7 times over or something ridiculous like that. So I don't know. I just think that when you have someone that's consistently putting in the winners like that, the yearly is the way to go, because you save so much money. So I'm just gonna talk about breaking myself over here. It's good. I make less money that way. So it's all right. Before I break myself, Jovan, thanks for joining
us. Good
talk. Yeah, good. This Joe, this is where you're supposed to stop me. Just shut up.
I was like, stop it.
Anyways, Jovan, thanks for joining us. And like I said, be sure to grab one of his packages red hot. So no reason
Absolutely,
not to.
Yes.
No, see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate you joining us. Jovan Burts.
Best of luck. Absolutely
tearing it up on the leaderboards. That Penn State Iowa game, that is it's one that we haven't really talked about on the show. We talked about it during the week and stuff, but man, absolutely another big one today that we see. So All right.
Yeah, we look at like what those defenses are only allowing. Like Penn State's only allowing 12 points per game, right? Iowa's 11.6 points per game. Like these two defenses are going to be lights out today.
We're going to bring in Al McMordie next. I wasn't sure he was coming, but he's here, so of course he's welcome to be here. We're excited that he's here. So
we'll let him in.
I asked Joe before the show, I said, is Al coming? She's like, I don't know. So it's like, here he is, though. Welcome, Al, to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys? I just jumped on just now, and I heard you guys mention the Penn State Iowa, which was one of the two games I was planning on talking about. So
that's fine.
You just said before I jumped on.
But we can talk about it. We can talk about it all day long. Jovan had his take on it. Everyone's got a take on it. It's like we don't always agree or disagree, or we can beat it into the ground. We're fully capable of all those things.
Sure. I'm just curious. What did Jovan say about the game?
He said it was going under, right?
Okay. Well, I'll give out the side rather than the total. So let's talk about the game. Iowa and Penn State. Both teams, I think, have it's interesting. They both have similar profiles. They're both 5-0 straight up. They're both 4-1 against the spread. They both have very similar offensive and defensive averages, with which Joe just alluded to. Iowa's scoring 33.2, giving up 11.6. Penn State scoring 30, giving up 12.0. So there are a couple of key statistics here which lead me toward the home team. The first key statistic is that historically, this is Iowa's sweet spot. They're 56-23 against the spread at home versus Big Ten teams when priced from pick'em to -7, including 5-0 ATS versus undefeated opponents. So that works well for Iowa here. The other thing, which just a general system, you take a look at how home favorites do off road wins by more than 30 points over conference foes. And of course, Iowa coming in off that huge momentum building win, 51-14 at College Park last Friday night against Maryland. Those teams are 282 and 195 against the spread going back to 1980. I like Iowa here minus the short price.
Joe, what are you thinking?
I never know how to follow up Al. Al is like, he just blasts us away with all of these such informative stats. It's mind-blowing, but I agree with you, Al. This definitely could be a game where Iowa comes out and gets it. I'm not going to touch a side in this because I can rationalize why Penn could get this as well. I'm just solid on that under today.
I hear you. Yeah, no, I can't wait. This is probably the most excited I've been for college football in a long time, to be able to watch that Iowa Penn State game. I'm going to have, Michigan, Nebraska on as well. So as a Big Ten fan, this is just, terrific for someone like me. Then you've got Rutgers, Michigan State at 12 noon. So this is great. Wall-to-wall action.
It is wall-to-wall action, both in the Big Ten. The SEC also has a big day of wall-to-wall action, so they even have the when the SEC is really getting into it, when they show the late night game on CBS, like that 8 o'clock Eastern time start game on CBS. That's like when we're in, this is when I just. But
that's par for the course for the SEC. For the Big Ten, for the last 20 years, it's pretty much just been Ohio State and maybe Wisconsin, nobody else. So it's kind of fun to see some other teams get in the mix this season.
Yeah, James Franklin's done a real nice job over at Penn State, and Kirk Ferentz, a few years ago, he was the hottest ticket, of college coaches to go to the NFL. He passed on all those jobs, and then Iowa went south, and it was kind of like, why did he could have had all of those jobs, and he hung around, and he's kind of rebuilt this program, and he's done it. I'm from Miami, and it's like we always consider ourselves, we consider ourselves everything but they consider themselves tight end U. I'm not sure if they're better than we are, but in the same respect, they just seem to, produce these tight ends year after year over at Iowa, and they find quarterbacks that can't throw much further than hitting the tight end. So it's just a perfect combination.
Yeah, Kirk Ferentz actually went to my high school in Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of a trivia fact. The other game I'm going to look at is over in the Mountain West, Wyoming against Air Force. And Wyoming comes into this game. They're installed as mid-sized underdog here at Air Force, even though Wyoming is 4-0, but they're a 5-point underdog. Air Force, for its season right now is 4-1. If you take a look at how undefeated teams do at Game 5 forward, so 4-0 or better, those undefeated teams, when priced on the road from +4 to +14 points, they're 17-40 against the spread going back to 1980. So that doesn't bode well for Wyoming here as an underdog. The other thing about Wyoming, if you look at how the team has done over the years, they're 12-37 against the spread on the road versus an opponent off a win by 15 or more points, including 1-13 against the spread if their opponent is off back-to-back against the spread wins, which of course Air Force is. And then if you take a look at this momentum system I have, as I've touched upon me, I know Joe Duffy's touched upon as well. College football is probably the biggest momentum league out of all the different leagues. If you look at how home teams do off back-to-back double-digit wins, if they also cover the spread by double digits of each of those two wins, those teams are 107-66 if they're not favored by 7 or more points, and of course here it's under 7. So I really like the home favorite here minus the 5.5 points.
Joe?
Yeah, I have to agree with Al. What we're seeing out of Wyoming is they're not just able to stop this run game, and Air Force is going to dominate in that today. So I think it's an easy giver taking Air Force minus the points today.
Yeah, that's a Joe Madden game all the way, Air Force, Wyoming. But this is one of those games for me that it's like I always grew up watching this game, and it was always highlights of a guy with a face mask full of snow, right? It was like, Colorado State, Utah State. It was always these type of games. So I know Air Force, generally pretty tough. Wyoming seems to be a little bit overrated this year, right? I don't know where that comes from, but they've been a little overrated in most of their games. So I'm gonna have to just believe you guys and go with the Force. May the Force be with us in this one.
So that's what I've got today. Over at PickDawgz Premium today, it's a big card. Not as big as last week. Last week I had 16 plays on Saturday. Today I've got 11 plays. I just added an 11th a few hours ago, so we're up to 11 plays for Saturday college football. I've also already posted 7 plays for pro football for Sunday, a mixture of sides and totals. So hopefully a good weekend. We're on a little nice run here. 25-7 the last 32. So hopefully we'll keep it going. And if you want to join for a week or for a month, that's the best deal of all. And you can also team me up with one of the other champion handicappers here at PickDawgz on the 2-for-1 handicapper special.
Yeah, last week you kind of tiptoed around the NFL schedule, but this week you just think it's just a lot more meat on the bone.
Yeah, it doesn't, last week I hated the schedule. We went 4-0. This week I think it's a little bit better. It's not awesome, but now I could go 0-7. I mean, you know how that works. Just because you love a play doesn't mean it's going to win. I've been there before, but it's better. Last week was just a god-awful NFL card, so I felt very fortunate to escape with a 4-0 sweep. That generally doesn't happen, but fingers crossed that we keep it going in the NFL and in college football.
Absolutely. We appreciate you stopping by and joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Ashiel. I'll be bright and early tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow, Al. That was Big Al McMordie, legend in the business.
Best of luck, Al.
Of course,
thanks, guys. Good luck, Joe.
Wealth of information on these shows. So, it's like, I was saying before, during earlier in the show, I'm kind of like, it's kind of a generic card, and you have a few big games in there. But now it's like everyone's talking. I'm kind of like, I get all excited again. It's like, yeah, we do have this, and no one's even mentioned a couple of the other really big games that we have too. So, just really,
we have some great games. Definitely a good day to sit on the couch and watch football all day long.
I think it's always a good day to sit around on the couch and watch football.
I think so too.
It's just.
I don't know how anyone could disagree with that. There's never enough football. There's never enough football and enough coffee. It's like everyone's naturally good at something, and I think I might be naturally good at sitting on the couch and watching football. I think I'm good at that too. Speaking of sitting on the couch and watching football, we got Chris Ruffolo with us. Chris has got is that a new chair you got there, Chris?
No, this is Old Faithful. This is my lazy boy I've had for a while. The problem is with everything that's still being unpacked, my office chair is in another room, so I'm behind a wall of boxes. So this is just as good as it's getting from me right now. But you know what? I might as well be in comfort while I'm doing this. What's the over under on the unpacking here on the move for the Ruffalo? For how many days?
Yeah,
Does it
like
still take
well, we're not. We don't talk in terms of days with your unpacking prowess. We're gonna be realistic and give you weeks to months.
Okay, can we at least go weeks, because months is like it's too easy to go towards the under. No, you know what? Let's say 1.5. I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna start getting my butt in gear.
I like the over.
Yeah, I can't blame you.
Okay, what do you guys think the over under was for my move? I want to see how well you guys think you know me. Over under a month and a half. Let's go a month and a half.
Oh, see if she squeezed that extra half in there. That's always it's always the half.
Yeah, it was the line move. I'm gonna go with the over.
I'm gonna go under.
No, over all the way. I still have boxes in my garage. I'm realizing though, whatever's in those boxes, I don't need. So,
wish we learned that.
Yeah, the next time I move, we're selling everything as is. We're not moving anything except for clothes and maybe a few, maybe like my studio stuff and things like that. But yeah, we're not going to move anything. It's like shipping to Hawaii. Bad idea. It is a bad idea. It's like nothing ever fits
Very
in the
expensive.
new house anyway. It was all made for the old. It's all picked out for the old place.
Yeah, we have to buy 2 new box springs because neither of the box springs fit in the house. Neither of them fit up the stairs. The guy's like, "Oh yeah, I can take your box spring upstairs, but we'll do a little bit of damage to your ceiling." And I'm like, "Well, he still tried and it still didn't work." So,
oh, too bad.
yeah, oh well.
Just
Sleeping
goes
on the
to
floor is comfortable. Anyway.
Just goes to show you. Throw everything out. Start over. Anyway, speaking about throwing things out and starting over, what game you got for us today?
Well, my first one, and Mitch will remember this. Let's see if Washington State and Oregon State can't get me in trouble for the second year in a row. So we're going to look at this game between the Beavers and Cougars, and I have to look at this one. See, I heard a chuckle because he remembers exactly what happened to me. I almost got a lamp thrown at my head last year. This matchup between Washington State and Oregon State, historically, these are two teams that, well, forget defense. You could throw defense out the window. I'm looking at the over in this one, 8-0 head-to-head in the last 8 meetings between the two teams. And outside of last year's meeting that only crept over the total by 1.5, the previous 7 had gone over the total by at least 9 points, including 6 of those going over by double digits. This is just, historically, it's been a high-scoring series. I like Oregon State against this Washington State defense, and I think Washington State's going to get some points of their own in this one. So definitely looking at the over in a game that I could see easily hitting the 70s.
Joe?
Yeah, I like Oregon State minus the points and the over in this one. I think we're going to see a high-scoring battle with Oregon State coming out on top. They're 10-1 against the spread in their last 11 on the road. I think it's going to be a great high-scoring game.
And Nick Rolovich, not my friend, when it comes to betting. This is a guy that really could care less about the point spread in any of these games, which, is a little disturbing coming from a college head coach. So awfully tough on me. I could see an over here as well. We've seen Oregon State put up a lot of points, in Washington State pretty, still has a lot of those offensive players from the Mike Leach run there, kind of running towards the end of those guys. Not really one of those schools where the guys leave early, right? It's not a leave early school. So still a lot of remnants from the offensive minds there of Leach. So I could see an over here as well. Of course, these Pac-12 games, they're always over.
Yeah, and my jump right into the second one. It may not be a popular play, but popular plays never really got you anywhere. So I'm looking at this Illinois and Wisconsin game, and Wisconsin, a 1-3 surprising start. Now, I'm not faulting Wisconsin for their level of competition. Playing Michigan, Notre Dame, and Penn State, those are 3 of the tougher teams that you'll find on any schedule. But the thing about this matchup with Illinois is that we always talk about Wisconsin being a stronger home team at Camp Randall, that they still only come out with a 1-3 record, and they're dead last in the country in turnover margin. They're getting beat in the turnover department by 2 turnovers per game, turned it over 11 times this season. And say what you want about Illinois. This is an Illinois team that's top 15 in the country in turnover margin. And I think this could be an opportunistic spot for the Illini come in and make a bit of a statement, get some confidence going here. So you can take the points if you want, but I'm looking at Illinois on the money line. I think that this is a 24-23 last second upset kind of game, and I think Illinois escapes will win plus 320. I can't pass that up with how careless Wisconsin's been with the ball so far this season.
Joe Madden?
I like Illinois plus the points. I think coming out, taking them on the money line is a great play value-wise. I just can't get there with this Illinois team against Wisconsin. I think it's definitely they're going to cover the spread. In the last 7, they've covered 5 of them. So give me Illinois plus the points in this one, and best of luck. I hope you hit it on the money line. That's such great value if you do.
Paul Chryst makes Brett Bielema a better coach. He just makes him look better. Paul Chryst makes everyone look better. This guy might be the worst play caller in the history of the game. It's like, I understand about leaning on the run and being run first, but you can't be run on 3rd and 7 every single time. And that's what this guy did against Michigan. He's in the last 2 games, he's coached his team from a close game straight into a blowout by conservative play calling on 3rd down and putting himself in these 3rd and long situations, 3rd and more than 5. I don't know what they call long anymore in these games, but I say if you have more than 5 yards, an obvious passing situation. And Chryst does that on a regular basis by his 1st and 2nd down vanilla draw plays every single time. I mean, maybe play action. I mean, just think about it. I mean, you just have nobody on the team that can catch. Is that what's going on here? I mean, Mertz, he came in from, where did he come in from? Like somewhere else that was like, one of the really good schools, right? Like Clemson or something, right? Or Missouri or something. He was a transfer. And, this guy came in with a great pedigree, but he's been beaten down by Paul Chryst. His first game, he couldn't throw an incompletion, and it was against Illinois. But, since then, he's not even allowed to throw the football. And when he is allowed to throw the football, it's only in obvious passing situations. This guy's just a joke. I mean, I never liked Brett Bielema either, But I have to say, given these 2 guys, I think maybe Wisconsin's going to try and sign Bielema on the sideline. Bielema was fired on the sideline at Arkansas. Maybe he gets hired on the sideline in this one. This is, I can't stand this Paul Chryst. Just really.
Tell us how you really feel, Mitch.
Just really sucks. I mean, I just don't understand it. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, how could this possibly work? How could you even think? Is your ego that big that your running schemes are going to do this against like the Michigan defense? Because they're not even respecting the pass. They know you're going to run on 3rd and 7 because you're an idiot. It's like, I mean, they even, you're being outcoached by Jim Harbaugh at home. It's like, how? I said it. I don't feel better, but I said it. It's like, how does it even happen? All right, Chris, what else you got for us?
Those are my 2 plays for today, but I'm gonna send you a card that says President of the Paul Chryst Fan Club. I think that was.
I just don't even understand what he's doing. I don't even understand the game plan.
Yeah, you're not alone.
I mean, how could you run the ball exclusively and be 100 and be 70th in rushing the football? It's like, it doesn't even make any sense to me. This is why you're 117th in the nation in scoring. 117th, Wisconsin. I understand they played a tough schedule, right? Tougher. But Notre Dame's not like, it's not like you're playing Georgia, It's like you should be able to put that. The last 2 games, he's taken close games and turned them into blowouts with conservative play calling. I argue on the show every morning. I went on a big rant the other day about playing to win and being a home run hitter, and that's what I believe in. Paul Chryst plays to not lose, and that's a good way to lose. It's like the blackjack player that doesn't move his money around, that sits there and plays $5, $5, $5, $5. Yeah, that's what the house wants you to do, right? It's like you have to be always aggressive, always have to be aggressive because the odds are stacked against you. Anyways, Chris, I'm sorry you brought it up.
I'm not. That was good. That was fantastic. I enjoy someone else getting ripped too, like ripping into Paul Chryst.
That sucks. I want my money back. I think you should send all the bettors their money back for just real lack of effort. What do you got for sale today?
Well, today I got my Saturday Super 7, my top 7 plays on the board. That'll get you from dawn till dusk. Kicks off at 12 noon, and it'll get you all the way through the nighttime action tonight. So check that out, PickDawgz for $39.95 for. Check out use one of the other fantastic handicappers on the website, 2-for-1 capper deal. Or I can't stress this enough. This is when you want to jump on those long-term packages. This will get you the rest of the weekend for football if you just get a 3-day. 7 days going to get you into the NHL and NBA opening nights, and a month will get you into college basketball. So definitely take advantage. Check on those long-term passes because they'll make you a ton of money and save you money at the same time.
So speaking of NHL, the season starts on Tuesday. You're going to be doing the videos for PickDawgz, you and Rod Zawacky, every day. You guys covering all the games, or are you just going to do select games? How are you guys going to do it?
Right now, we're leaning towards doing all the games because in the NHL, these are every game is meaningful, and even heading into March when you got the Detroit Red Wings and the whoever else is in last. I'm not even sure, but every game means just the same. So we have a lot of fun doing the videos, and yeah, we're gonna be making a lot of people money along the way, which is also a lot of fun.
So on our morning show, we were betting preseason NHL hockey. Don't judge me. I saw that look. Don't judge me. Okay?
Look, I can't judge you after we bet on simulated football.
They have lines on it. Anyways, we're betting preseason NHL hockey. I accidentally put a bet in on the October 12th game between the Kraken and the Vegas Knights. I've got the Kraken. Do I have any chance, or am I looking to hedge the hell out of this thing?
No, I think you do have a chance. It's like the old new kid welcoming the new kid to school, and this Seattle Kraken team, they didn't have the same luck in the draft that Vegas did, but they did draft pretty well, and they've got a puncher's chance in this one, mainly because in Vegas's respect, they don't know how this Seattle team's going to be looking on their first night out as a team on the ice, but I think they got a chance, especially on opening night. The lights are bright. Seattle's looking to make an impact in game 1, and I think they got a chance.
Well, I got him.
Oh, yeah. The storyline behind it is fantastic. They come out and beat Vegas. That'd be a fantastic way to start off for them. So I like it, Mitch. I think you do have a good chance. Don't hedge out.
I've got $250 plus 213 on the Kraken. It's I don't check my bets well enough. I get all excited. It's like well. Because what happened was on the show is that we started talking about NHL preseason hockey, and Rod was like, I'm not betting preseason NHL hockey. You should never do it or whatever. And then all of a sudden, he's like, we started talking. He's like, well, let me check the starting goalies. And then all of a sudden,
it took 2 seconds, and he flipped on that. He was like, that's it. We're betting. Let's go. And, he gave us a parlay and a whole bunch of
things. You got to take the Kraken tonight. And it was like, who were they? They ended up losing that game anyway, so I'm better off, with my money on this game. But I put it on. I put it on the opening. It was the opening night instead of the preseason game. Anyways, Chris, it's going to be a good NHL season. Of course, college basketball, NBA, all right around the corner as well. This is the best time of the year, so jump on one of Chris's long-term packages. But let's get it rolling as we move into the 11 o'clock Eastern time hour. Joe, covering a lot of games here. Still a lot of big games on the card. We've got our regulars left, Rod and Brian, still to come up on the show. I know we talked fried foods without Rod yesterday. I'm sure he could hear the fry-later crackling. Rod gets into the hand gestures when he starts talking about cooking. It's kind of like, you want some chives on your twice baked potato. He's chopping, he's gets into
sprinkling.
It's like, take out my pastry bag.
I love it.
Yeah, it definitely is. One of the highlights of the day, because it's nice to see people get as excited as I do about food. That's for sure. Let's see. I'm just looking for. Got so many. All right, there we go. Anyways, Rod, welcome to the show.
Morning.
So were your ears burning yesterday when we were talking about all the food at the Texas State Fair? Because there's a lot of fried food going on. They have a fried Frito pie at the fair this year.
Fried Frito pie.
Yeah.
They must have to crumble up the Fritos and then use those.
Yeah, they said it turns into a flaky crust.
Yeah, because I bet you it would. I can see that. That's a pretty good idea.
Fried
I'm gonna make a mental note of that. Fried Fritos. Use Fritos.
We got a nice schedule of games today. What are you looking at out of the gate here?
Out of the gate, we'll go to. I'm going to go with the Big Ten Conference battle right out the gate here. We're going to go Michigan State and Rutgers. For me, you look at Michigan State. They've played pretty well coming in the first few games of the year, and so is Rutgers. Rutgers lost their first ATS last week, but for me, Big Ten, this is a battle, and Rutgers at home. For me, Rutgers 6-0 ATS following an ATS loss. Rutgers is also 6-1 their last 7 after scoring 20 points or less in the previous game. And you look at Rutgers, they're 6-2 ATS their last 8 home games versus a team with a winning record. This is a spot where I think Rutgers comes out and keeps this a close game. I think we got a field goal game all day. You look at Michigan State, they're 5-15-3 ATS their last 21 conference games. They're also 3-9-1 their last 13 versus a team with a winning record as well. So I think this is too many points. Give me Rutgers plus the whatever points you get. I see it down to 4.5 now in spots. So I think it's a field goal game all day. Give me Rutgers plus the points.
Joe.
Yeah, I'm completely with you, Rod, on this one. I think it is way too many points for Michigan State to cover, especially going into Rutgers in this one. It's going to be back and forth, and it's coming down to last possession, in my opinion, as well. That field goal will be the winner.
I'm kind of on the other side on this one. I did not go premium pick on this one, but I certainly considered it. I certainly considered going premium pick on this one with Michigan State. I just think that they've been a super physical team, and I think Rutgers. Last time Greg Schiano was at Rutgers, it was the 5-year plan, right? I got this 5-year plan and chop some wood, right, and get there in 5 years. I think he's way ahead of the 5-year plan this year. I just don't think he's there yet.
Ahead.
I just don't think he's there yet. And I think we saw it last week against Ohio State. He's not quite there yet. I think what we saw at Michigan was definitely good. I mean, look at who they played, right? They played Ohio State and Michigan, right, back to back. And here's Michigan State, who's undefeated. So, we've got to really see them against the heavy hitters, but I can see Michigan State being just a little physical, and I think this game's closer to a touchdown. I could see it being the same thing as like that Michigan game, like a 20-13 type thing. Michigan State's got a good running back, and when they get into that fourth quarter, they can really grind a team.
But yeah. I think Rutgers will slow them down.
I'm rooting for Rutgers. I'm rooting for Rutgers. I'm rooting for Rutgers, but I don't know if I can get there with my money. What else we got?
Another one we're going for. We're going to go with Kent State in the Buffalo game here. Big revenge spot here. Buffalo whooped up the Flashers last season. I think Kent State had the circles on the calendar here. Big revenge spot for the Flashers. But this season, I see the Flashers 11th best rushing team in the country, rushing for over 242 yards a game, going against this Buffalo 90th ranked D against the rush. You look at the Flashers 8-1 ATS versus a team with a losing record in their last 9 conference games. My bad. 8-1 ATS versus their last 9 versus a team with a losing record. And the Flashers are also 10-4 their last 14 conference games. So give me the Flashers here. I think they get their revenge on Buffalo here.
Joe, you got Maction.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a tight one. I'm worried. I'm worried with this one. I think Kent State, 5.5, 6 points. Hard to cover for them in this one. They're not covering the spread. They're 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 games. But both these teams are struggling offensively. 64 points. I think if I'm going to play this one, it would have to be that under. I could see it hitting, right below that at 62.
Kind of, I don't know. It's a tough one for me because both these teams were supposed to be a little bit better than they are.
Yeah.
You know, but both these teams, you know, they played some tough games. I really can't. I'm struggled to get past that Buffalo game at Nebraska where I really thought they were going to play better. But now looking in hindsight, Nebraska's really not that bad, you know, as they were, as I thought they were going to be at that time. So it makes it a little bit tougher for me. I don't know. I think I'm going to pass on this one. I'm going to straight Ruffolo this thing. It's just, for me, it's just a tough one. But anyways, Rod, any pick, and do you have a premium or anything on Oklahoma, Texas? Because no one's talked about this game. I know Brian doesn't have it on his list either. So do you have a premium on this thing?
I have a premium on this.
Yeah, a premium on it. Okay, so we won't bother you with it. Maybe we'll hit Brian up if he doesn't have one, or if not, Joe and I will talk about it without you guys. What do you got for sale today?
For me, I've got my college football 10-star Big Ten Conference Game of the Month. Absolutely love this. My top play on the board. We had our nice 10-star top play yesterday. Or you can grab my sound pass to get all 7 of my best bets included for one price, $39.95. Or you can get just my single best play of the day over at PickDawgz Premium. Or, like I said, we got hockey coming up. Season pass out there early, $400. Get you the whole season.
Excited to work with Chris Ruffolo every day. That sounds like a good time. I just want. I don't want to watch the video. I want to watch the video of you guys making the video.
Like making the video. Right?
Yeah, I think that would be a better show for me, a better watch than watching the actual video.
The behind the scenes of the action.
Yes, that's exactly.
You learn a lot behind the scenes. I'll tell you guys that right
definitely.
now.
Definitely.
I say nothing. I'm always quiet as a
No
church
comment.
mouse.
Yeah.
Well, we learned about Joe's mother's lingo yesterday. It was pretty interesting stuff.
It is quite funny.
Good story.
It is quite funny. I'm sure a lot of people say it.
Yes. But yeah, I've heard it so many times in all, it's like in my life.
So making videos with Ruffalo must be a blue job then.
Yeah, that's it. It sounds like something else, but it's definitely in that category. But anyways, Rod, we'll see you every day here at PickDawgz. Of course, our 11 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday, and then of course every weekend with Joe and I on these shows as well. Of course, part of our premium and VIP YouTube packages. But we move on, Joe. Just one more person left, and it is Brian, who I don't see wearing his Buster Posey jersey today. I thought for sure he would be wearing his Buster Posey shirt because we know he has one because he's a big giant.
No, I dressed up for Joe here today. I got my, got my Abercrombie shirt on.
Well, it's
a very nice shirt, Brian.
Well, no one can see it yet because I haven't brought you in because I can't find your name
thanks
on the thing. Well, I can't flip as quickly as like that, but all right, here we go.
Let's get it together here.
Hey, I'm just one person. Anyways, Brian, welcome to the show. So when Buster Posey, first inning, just knocked it right out of the park. Did you know the game was over then?
No, before I went to bed, I got a text message from you, and I looked at the score. It was 4-0. I was like, it was at.
Yeah, that was on the late inning. That was on the Chris Bryant home run. I texted you. I figured at that point I was safe. I was in the clear.
And unfortunately today the Giants look like to play, so hopefully I'll curse them if I put $100 on them. So.
Do you have a premium pick on Texas, Oklahoma?
No, I don't. But I really like the Oklahoma Sooners today. Everybody and their mom seems to be humping up on the Texas Longhorns today. I think the bigger money guys are going with the Sooners here on the road. I think they're a more talented team. Texas has won a few games in a row, 4 straight. But I think the Sooners, if they want to have a chance here in making the college football playoffs, they need to blow out teams like Texas and doing it on their home field. So for me, it's Sooners here laying the points. Not a premium play, but easily could have been. I like the Sooners.
Yeah, I'm on Texas in this one. Maybe I'm the sucker at the table, but it just seems to me that Texas, that when you look at the money on this game, that it's one of those games where it's somewhat skewed the numbers because I think a lot of the people betting Texas are going on the money line. And I think, it's also one of those games that's such a public game that it's like, there's so much public money in the mix here. It's hard to figure it out. To me, it does seem like the bigger bettors are in Oklahoma, and that's where the house, appears to be moving back towards. But at the same time, man, this thing is really just very, very, very close, and it should be a close one on the field. I just think that Oklahoma, what we've seen on the field just hasn't been good enough.
I gotta say, I also really agree with Rod here. Love Rutgers here, man. All the freaking Johnny Fish fillets jumping on Michigan State Spartans. I think Rutgers at home here, they could pull an upset. But
just don't like the way they've looked against the bigger, better teams. I just think they're a year away. And I think, I agree with you. Michigan State, always one of the most public teams. Always, always, always. Very, very public. Michigan State, they're in that Notre Dame, Ohio State type atmosphere when it comes to public college teams. But I just think that in this case, I just think the running game is just a little bit too physical. I don't have a premium pick or anything on that.
Lots of awesome games today, though.
Yeah, I don't have a premium pick on that game. But anyways, you have a couple games that,
all right.
You have a couple games that you said you were going to go over. So why don't we go to one of those?
All right, right away, I'm going to get right in here. I love Auburn plus the points today against Georgia. I've been a Georgia guy all season long, but 15 points in this SEC rival game, I just think that's way too many points. Georgia, a shot here, but frankly, I would be surprised if they took this game outright. Auburn taking the game outright. It's never easy to play at Jordan-Hare Stadium. This Auburn team lost at Penn State. No real shame in that. Georgia off a huge ranked win last week at home. I see this as a 7-point game. Anyway, slice it. Revenge spot from last season as Georgia absolutely blew the doors off of Auburn. I think I'm going to play it safe here and take the points like I usually do. But like I said, I think Auburn could really knock them off here. Tigers 10-4. Last 14 games at home as a dog. And the home team in this series is 11-4 the last 15. For me, it's Auburn Tigers all the way. Easily could have been a premium pick.
Joe?
I got to ride against you and take Georgia in this one. I think they're just at a different level, and they're going to pull away in that second half and get this cover. 14, 15 points. Yeah, give me Georgia minus the points.
I think I might have to agree with Brian here. I just think it's a ton of points, but is it the books baiting you, by giving you that many points? The Auburn defense is really good too. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. These linebackers are for real on Auburn. And, a few years ago when they had Brown, anchoring that defensive line, I felt that they were just ridiculous in that area. But, I'm not a big Bo Nix guy, and I know he's going to turn the ball over against this Georgia defense. And that's where I struggle with the outright play, on the money line. I mean, not saying I'm not going to put a couple bucks there, but I'm just saying that, I think if they don't get there on the money line, I think, it is a team sport. You win as team, lose as a team, but everyone knows my management style. Something goes wrong, we point finger, we assign blames, and we also call them names on top of it. And I've done that plenty.
They had Penn State reeling, though. They had them reeling.
Oh, no, they had them. And that was on the road, at night.
Yeah.
So
it's never easy to play at Nittany Stadium.
Yeah, Jordan-Hare is tough building. I mean, it's an SEC afternoon game. This could be first to 10, very easily be first to 10. What else you got for us today, Brian?
So on a day that I liked a ton of action here, I like the Virginia Tech Hokies here on the money line. Notre Dame is a team that I have gotten right all season long, and there hasn't been many teams that I have gotten right all season long. 5-0 when playing 4 against Notre Dame. This game is in Blacksburg, Virginia. Never an easy place to play for any team. We saw that with North Carolina in week 0. I see another big unexpected upset today. You might not say that in line, but Virginia Tech knocking off Notre Dame, to me, would be an upset. Irish are still massively overrated here. No way this team should be ranked, in my opinion. Last time these two teams met up in 2019, it was a 21-20 score. I see this game being close, but Virginia Tech pulls it out. Hokies 11-5. Last 16 home games versus a team with a winning record. Take Virginia Tech on the money line.
Joe?
I'm liking the under in this. We have seen both of these teams struggle as of late, but I think this is one of those games where these offenses start meshing, and we're going to see a lot more points, especially with a couple holes we're seeing in both of their defenses. So, over in this one, I think flies into the 50s.
Yeah, I like Virginia Tech here a lot also. The line has sailed through 0. That's always a pretty good sign, but now it's kind of leveling off back at 0. So, you're seeing that Notre Dame action, which is typical. And generally the books are super dialed in on Notre Dame games. I've been pretty good in Notre Dame games this year as well. So I've lost one. I lost the Purdue game, and that was really my heart over my head in that one. But I think, we've seen from Justin Fuente where he's had some bad games coaching. So that's why I didn't go premium pick on this one. I was going to go Virginia Tech premium pick. It was, earlier in the week, Brian was like, "Oh, I love some games," and I was like, "I love Virginia Tech this week," right? And
yeah, that's what keeping me from premium.
Yeah, I didn't. Thanks, Brian. And in this one, I just think that it's one of those games where Justin Fuente, we've seen him just lay an egg. I think Brian Kelly is the better coach here.
Yep. No, I agreed with what you said. Not that because you had it, I didn't make it.
It's okay. We know exactly what you meant. It's.
I like Virginia Tech.
They've seen the show before, so it's like it's not like they haven't seen the show before. All right, what do you got for sale today, so we can wrap this up and head to our premium and then our VIP shows, which will follow.
Yeah, this is a nice, fast show today. I loved it. I got my super sharp revenge. I got my super sharp revenge 5-pack. It includes my non-conference game of the year. My blank check play. I got 2 huge plays in college football after cashing the Pac-12 game of the month last night. So we're going to try to get a 5-0 sweep together, but I'll take a winning day. Pick all 5 plays up for $50 at PickDawgz.com, or just pick up my non-conference game of the year for $30. You won't be sorry.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Brian. Of course, you can see Brian with us every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and, of course, here on the weekends at 10 a.m. We will see you tomorrow, and, of course, we'll see you in just a few minutes for the premium, and then, 5 minutes after that's posted, we will do the VIP show. We'll still have plenty of time for kickoff for the early games. My games are late games, so it doesn't matter, but I don't know about the other guys. Anyways, Joe, that brings us to a close of another big Saturday of games. Any games out there that you want to give out a pick on?
You know what? Let's ride with Kentucky to go 6-0 today. I think they're going to cover this spread. I think they're going to give LSU a run. This is one I've been looking at over and over, and I just really think Kentucky has all of the elements to get this win today. It will be a battle. I think it comes down to fourth quarter. I don't see them pulling away fast, but I think they do get this win, and I can see it being by a touchdown at least.
I like the over in Arkansas Ole Miss, 66 points. You start getting into that 9.5, 10 touchdown range. That's where I love seeing it. I'm a defensive guy, but when I see totals like this, oh man, I think Ole Miss can move the ball on Arkansas, and with their quarterback emerging as one of the Heisman favorites, they're not going to take their foot off the gas at any point during this. They're going to let him rack up numbers if that's a possibility, but their defense is an absolute sieve as well. So I see a track meet in this one. I like the over in Arkansas Ole Miss. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. Let's make it a winning day. I'm going to try and act more professional tomorrow for the NFL show. And of course, enjoy Saturday. It's my favorite day of the week during my favorite time of the year. Have a great day.